Hey, hello, and welcome to VJ Vlogs. Thank you so much for the love that you are showing me and the fact that a lot of people are chancing on this video, saying that VJ, I just chanced on your video and it's been helpful. And I want, sometimes I decide to give up, but when I see some of these comments, I decide to go on because even if I'm impacting one or two people, then we are doing something better. But please help me push this channel, share to people, let them know what we are doing here. So now in this video, I'm going to address 10 frequently asked questions about Chinese government scholarship. What people have come into my DM and they are asking, I've compiled them, and I want to address it here so that it will be very beneficial to a lot of people. So I'm just going straight into this video. I'm not cutting this video. I'm on a very tight timeline. It's even 5:10 a.m., but I need to record this video as soon as possible, share on the website, on the YouTube page, so that people would benefit from. So I'm not cutting this video. I'm not doing any other thing. I'm just going straight to address what people are asking. So the first thing that I'm going to address in this video, what is the Chinese government scholarship and who can apply for it? So people have been asking me this. So Chinese government scholarship basically is one of the prestigious scholarships you can ever find. You can ever find in the world, and it applies to masters, bachelors. I should have started with bachelors. So bachelors, masters, and PhD. If you fall in this category, you can apply, and there are cut-off ages to this. If you're applying for bachelors, you shouldn't be more than 25 years. If you're applying for bachelors, masters, you shouldn't be more than 30 years. If you're applying for PhD, you shouldn't be more than 40 years. Sorry, masters is 35 years. PhD is 40 years. So these are the age limit to it. And so this is the person, like these are the people who can apply to Chinese government scholarship. However, there are some types. They have the type A, type B, and the type C. I'll address the type A and the type B. For the type A, you're applying through your embassy. I'll come back. I think there's a question on the timeline. So you're applying through your embassy in your country. Type B, you're applying to the university directly. So these are basically the types. So and the second question is, how competitive are Chinese government scholarships? So this is one of the common questions people ask. ABJ, how sure am I that I'm going to be selected? What if I'm not selected? People are asking me, ABJ, I gave it to an agent and then I was disappointed. This is it. Now, globally, I think even I addressed the comments like that. Globally, scholarships have become competitive. Now everybody wants to break away from their country. People feel that, I'm so stressed, I'm not finding a job. And so the only means is to go into education and through a scholarship. So globally, scholarships are very, very, very competitive, very competitive. Now, one thing that when it comes to scholarship, you have to understand is that scholarships are limited. Admissions might not be limited, but scholarships are limited. And so once they are limited, it means that just a few people will be able to go in every year. So what you have to understand when you're applying is that people want to know what is the acceptance rate of the university, what is the cut. No, those things are not essential. What you have to do is that, do I meet the basic requirement to apply? If you meet them, you go on and apply. For the competition, it depends on the institution to make the assessment. Sometimes you need to understand how the procedures are. Sometimes it is very, like people who have not really performed can get opportunity. People who have performed will not get it. Make sure you put in the good document they are requesting for. The basic thing is that you meet the basic entry requirement. That is the first thing, and we are good to go. So it is competitive. I will not sit here and say that it's not competitive. It is competitive. What other scholarship options exist aside the Chinese government scholarship? So we have the university scholarship, we have the provincial scholarships. And then what you have to understand is the Chinese government scholarship is a full scholarship, 100% scholarship, tuition, medical insurance, accommodation, and a monthly stipend. But some of the university scholarships and then the provincial scholarships don't necessarily have these options or these offers. They do not necessarily have these offers. So what they have, some might have good scholarship, that is tuition, medical insurance, accommodation, and monthly stipend. That is what I studied on for my master's and my PhD. I was on the university scholarship. There's an interesting bit and story to my Chinese government scholarship, but I'm not here to go into those details because I had it and I did not opt for that option. But I used the university scholarship, full tuition, medical insurance, monthly allowance, and there are some provincial scholarships that might also give you full. However, some of these also scholarships would give you partial scholarship. Maybe they'll pay your tuition and your accommodation, then it cater for your feeding. Some, you see, it comes in that order. Then the fourth one that I'm addressing is, what does a typical scholarship cover? So that, I think I've even indirectly answered it. A typical scholarship, when I talk about full scholarship, now this is the difference. Some agents are saying that I'll get you a full scholarship, but your full scholarship is only on tuition. But a typical full scholarship should cover tuition, medical insurance, accommodation, and a monthly stipend. and a monthly stipend. That is a typical full score. That is what I consider or classify as full score. Just permit me to see. All right. And the number 5 is, when should I apply for Chinese government scholarship and what are the deadline? Now, when you're applying for Chinese government scholarships or even any other scholarship, what you should understand is that now most of the schools start opening for the Chinese government scholarship right from October of the current year through to the following year. It depends on the university. The Chinese government scholarship does not have a fixed time that, oh, this is the date. And it depends on the university. So some schools will start off in November, October through to March. Some would end in December, some will end in January, some will end in February. So you have to know the dynamics. What school am I looking for? What are the programs that I need to apply? So a year ahead of time, you make your research so that when it gets there, you know that I'm going straight into the school. I want to apply for this school. You already know the timelines. And that is how it operates. But some people, they will just chance on the video today, and then today they want to make a decision and apply. By then, applications are far closed. You get it. So these are some of the dynamics, and these are the timelines that are associated to it. But for the university scholarships, most of the schools would open them from February. So in this month, school scholarships would open through to maybe May. Yes, I think that one is fair enough. Then, this is the number 6 question. What documents do I need to apply for Chinese government scholarship? I think I've made an extensive video to explain the documents basically, so you can check them. But let me just check it. The first document that you need is your highest diploma, and then that is your certificate, your transcript. Let me check so that I do not confuse myself. Then you need your study plan, and then you need your 2 recommendation letters, which is supposed to be from an associate professor or a professor. Some people ask me, BJ, can an employer write a recommendation form? To the best of my knowledge, those ones happen to the Western countries, in America and Canada. But in China, it is strictly professor and associate professor. Then a copy of your passport homepage, your foreign physical examination form. You are supposed to make a medical. And then with this medical, they will ask you to, the Chinese, how do I even say this? They will ask you to, you have to download a form, take it to the hospital, then they would conduct this examination on you, and then you add it. Then you need a non-criminal record. Yes, you need a non-criminal record. And then you need an English proficiency letter. So you have to prove whether you can speak English or not. If you are not from an English-speaking country, then you'll be adding your TOEFL, your maybe standard examination that you have written. But if you are from an English-speaking country, you only have to add a letter that shows that your previous university you were taught in English. So that is the difference. And then if you have published a paper, it will be good. If you are going into the arts programs, you can add your portfolio. Yes, and then there is a question I'll personally address it. Professors, like professor, do I need a professor? That is the next question. That is the 7th question. But let me add this now. If you're a bachelor, you are requested to write an examination called the CSCA examination. And most of the bachelor programs, you are supposed to add your bank statement, not for you, like a bank statement to prove that, yes, your parents or your guardian can help cater for you. Some of the master's program and the PhD schools also request for bank statements as well. And one of the developments is you have to make a video. Not all the schools, but some schools would ask you to make a video of yourself to introduce yourself, maybe like in 2 minutes, in 1 minute. So that is basically it. Now, do I need a professor before I can apply? This one is also subjective. Some universities directly request that students get a professor, others do not request. So one thing I always tell people is that you do not have to use the general assumption to apply. First of all, we know we have Chinese government scholarship, but the notion is that every school and how they want to go about their Chinese government scholarship. So it will be in our interest to look for the university. After knowing the university, then we use the university's details, their outline, what they have outlined for that particular year to apply. So if they have stated that you need a professor, then you need a professor. Some of the schools will not request for a professor. It is there. But usually, what I've realized is that if you're applying for a science program, yes, most definitely you'll be requested, because a lot of the professors have a lab, and then in this lab, the apparatus. Sorry, I'm not making I will not edit this video, so forgive me if I make an error. Um, the apparatus to be used are limited, and so they want to get a fixed number of students that will fit in their lab. So you have to get a professor. It depends. So I think I've explained it well. I think we have three more questions to go. So the number eight question is, can I work while I study in China on a scholarship or without a scholarship? I've made an extensive video. I think that video has gotten a lot of attention. You cannot work. The answer is no. You cannot work when you are in China on a student visa. However, there are some paid internship. There are some internships that you can apply. It depends on your school. And some of the schools, when they get opportunities, they will post it for students to apply. And that is how even I got my first internship and my first job here in China after my PhD. I got an internship opportunity, and after the internship, they hired me for 6 months. Then I switched jobs to go into postdoctoral fellowship. So uh, but even with the internship, you are requested once you are even accepted, they will ask you to apply for what we call the internship visa. It's not easy. And then the other question is, the ninth question is, what happens if I don't maintain a good academic standard? That one is very simple. At the end of every year, students are requested to periodically assess themselves. The university will assess them based on their output in that one year. If you do not perform, your scholarship is taken away from you. It's as simple as that. Then the tenth one is that, are there scholarships specifically for certain countries? Or yes, there are some scholarships that are geared towards specific country. For example, we have the Belt Road. Is it Belt and Road? Yes. It's for people or people who fall within countries that have an agreement or fall under the Belt and Road and listed countries. Yes. And then we have Silk Road. We have all these are types of Chinese government scholarship, and we have the Asian scholarships. They have some specific scholarships that are geared towards some countries. So these are my top 10 questions that people have asked. So I'll come back and then review other scholarship questions that people have asked. And as people ask or come into my slide, into my DM, I would compile them and then we discuss them into details. So if you have, you can also put it there and I'll add it and then we address it together. Until then, I'll see you. I thank you all so much. Let's push this channel and then people get to know. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Bye bye.